Welcome back to the Campus Edge.
And not one you'll be forgetting soon. Seeing as we're in the middle of the summer currently, this Campus Edge is full of the videos that students made earlier during this semester.
Old but still good, like cheese, wine, and Harrison Ford.
All at once?
What other way is there?
Exactly. On this episode, we've got pieces comparing the iPhone versus the Android, Augustus Holiday Bowl, and
the perfect vacation experience, and more on the Campus Edge.
So, Marbella, how's your summer vacation going?
Meh, it could be going a lot better.
Oh no, what's wrong?
Well, I just have no idea what to do. When I want to do something, I just don't know how to plan it out.
Aww, sounds like you need some helping putting it all together. How about I show you the video I did a while ago about planning the perfect vacation?
That would actually be very helpful. Why don't we roll the package?
Hey guys, this is reporter Karen Garza, and today I'll give you some expert-approved tips on how to plan your perfect vacation. The first thing you gotta do is plan your trip with anticipation. A 6-month window will give you enough time to make sure that the planning and executing of your trip comes out perfect. Now, what exactly do you have to plan? Place, reason, and budget are 3 of the basic bullet points that you have to consider. How much money are you willing to spend? Where do you want to go and why? Where do you want to go and why? Do we want to relax in Cancun or do we want to try food in Thailand? These 2 questions will not only allow you to plan your activities, but will also build your budget as you go. The budget should include plane and hotel expenses, food, activities, and transportation money. It is also good to include a little extra bills to the budget in case of need or emergency. Hotel and transportation. Choose the accommodation according to your plans. Gonna rest, choose a nice hotel and enjoy the relaxation. Just a trip, choose a practical hotel with basic services. You have a low budget and you're looking to meet people? Pick a hostel. Staying for more than 5 days? Airbnb is a good option. Also, the hostels and some Airbnbs include kitchens, which means you can shop some groceries and then reduce the food expenses. Remember, it doesn't matter if a destination is expensive or cheap, modern or historical. You can always learn something new from them. I hope you guys enjoy my guide on how to plan your perfect trip, and I wish you a lot of luck in your next perfect vacation. For BCTV 20, this was Karen Garza.
Feeling a little better?
Yes, actually. Thank you so much for the tips.
Well, at least one of us got the advice she needed.
Oh no, what do you need?
I just really need a good anime recommendation.
Weird. I didn't take you for the anime type.
Well, I just got done with Graven the Fireflies and Paprika, and I was just going to watch Millennium Actress, but I can't find anywhere else to find it in original Japanese.
I think there were some words I didn't understand in there. Whatever you're talking about, I'm pretty sure Tyler Morgan made a piece reviewing something about something you just talked about. I don't know, just roll the piece already.
Hello, I'm Campus Edge reporter Tyler Morgan, and today I'm reviewing Your Name, a movie made by Makoto Shinkai, who is also known for Voices of a Distant Star and 5 centimeters per second, or also known for ripping your heart out and shooting it out into outer space in a romantic fashion. If you're a fan of anime, you obviously need to see this film, but if not, this would be a perfect film to start because it covers every cliche in the genre known of man, while also bringing a fresh spin on the table. The story is about 2 random strangers who happen to meet on a random circumstance bestowed upon them. I try to stay vague with the description because that's part of the spoiler of the film, and part of the interesting part is finding out what that circumstance is. But you basically just need to know that it's a strange circumstance that is bestowed upon them that is science fiction related. But what's also interesting about the film is it's also a romantic comedy, and it's a thriller, like a mystery. So all of those bundle up together, it makes it a pretty interesting film, and I'm a pretty huge fan of romantic anime films, but the mystery, I think, really sells it for like most people, especially my friend who's not a huge fan of anime. the twist and about like halfway through, on top of like the twist you get at the beginning, makes it so that those who are not interested in like the lovey-gushy stuff, the cutesy whatever, it actually gets to like the awesome animation and gets into some weird elements, and I like it. In fact, the science fiction part of it is what is great about it, I would say, because it brings some great animation into the table about midway through. That's probably one of my favorite moments in anime in a couple of years, I would say. What's interesting about Your Name is that the two main characters don't meet for the longest time. They communicate with each other via notes, and through these notes we actually learn about the characters. So I find that sort of character development pretty interesting, because I've always liked the idea of the character not knowing about a subject, so they're kind of a newcomer, and in order for them to find out, the characters tell them about the event that they're going through or whatever. So through that, they learn about the event, like the audience learns about the event. Well, it kind of turns, it's kind of implemented into this film because it's implemented by the characters finding out about each other, like I said, and finding out a new thing about someone's life that they didn't know about, that kind of thing. And it makes more sense once you see the film, but I do think it's pretty interesting how they find out about each other, because it feels like the audience gains a stronger connection to the film because of this learning experience that each of the characters have. I will warn everybody though, I would say like the first third is just average. It's definitely needed to set up the film, and on hindsight, it's like a pretty nice, it warms you up to the characters, but it's definitely the lowest part of the film because it doesn't show its true magic until halfway through. And that's for a couple certain reasons. There's reasons for it, but it definitely bogs down the film a little bit because it just seems like a typical anime. It seems like a silly situation that the characters are going through and it's not going to go anywhere, but it actually does. So that's the important part of that. Instead of just it being a silly situation, it actually goes somewhere for once. The music of the film is actually probably one of the high points as well, because instead of it just being like an intense song to where it starts out low and then it gets really loud and energetic, it actually feels a little bit sensual and warm. Just like the film, it brings something new to the table. It brings a warmth to the film, and you definitely get certain feelings after the film because the way that they use the main theme is like how each character meets each other, like how they're close to meeting each other, something like that. It brings a certain emotion to the song and leaves an impact, and I would say that fact alone shows how powerful the score is. I actually give this film a 9 out of 10, and that actually surprised me because I thought it was just going to be a film that was pandering to a wide audience. It was just a romantic comedy, but the science fiction part about it was actually pretty cool. I wouldn't say, obviously, if you're a huge sci-fi nerd, that's not it at all, but the thing about this director is that he always finds a fun spin on like a romantic moment or like a romantic cliche or something like that, because he presents a scenario that could happen in the future, that kind of thing, or a scenario that happens in like science fiction that a lot of people don't think about romantically, and it's always cool to see like spaceships, stuff like that, but it's not just, it's the fact that there's a twist along with the science fiction that it adds to the film. It's not a highly intricated, it's not a highly involved world. It's just a fun twist. So I recommend it to anyone who's a fan of film.
Wow, I gotta say, as someone who didn't have any idea that you were saying earlier, that movie looks pretty cool.
Absolutely. I already added it to my watcher list right after Tokyo Godfathers and right before Space Jam.
I'll just let that last one go.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Man, I really need to break myself of my horrible Ron Burgundy syndrome.
Ron Burgundy syndrome?
Yeah, it's this disease where I read whatever on the teleprompter no matter what it says.
That sounds horrible. Has it ever gotten you into trouble?
Once when my lines got mixed up with Samuel L. Jackson's script.
Yikes, that's rough.
Yeah, you can read up on my condition at the library, or better yet, Al's old and new books. I even did a video over that place. Why don't we ravioli the package? Dang it, autocorrect. I'm Campus Edge reporter Marbella Gonzalez, and today I've come to look at Al's old and new books here in downtown Wichita.
For 60 years, it has been Al's Old Books. And before that, it was another bookstore called Drawver's Books for at least 15 years. And so it's about 75 years old. The name of the bookstore was given to it back in 1957, and I purchased the rights to keep that name. The previous owner was a woman also, and she didn't want the bookstore to sound like it was just a romance and fiction store. So she took her husband's nickname that put her first in the alphabet in the phone book, and it made it sound more like a general store, which is what she intended. We buy and we trade. Very rarely are books donated to us. We're not really a nonprofit, and so we try to purchase everything. How many books do I have in the store? I have about 40,000 plus books in the store. I order a very few books from a wholesaler that are new, that have just come out when I have some title that people have really asked for. Prices in the books vary according to collectability and demand. Most of the paperback fiction is just going to be half price. The larger paperbacks that are so very expensive, we try to discount even more than half price. The hardcover fiction that's modern, that's not very collectible, are probably going to be only like 25% of the original price. We just have to go based on what we think the books can sell for. The people that come into the bookstore are very varied. I'm really surprised. We have young people and we have lots of older people. Sometimes we'll have book signings, and that's always fun. I can make more space in this area. We have a senior book club that comes in once a quarter to this venue to have their meeting, and we've had some professional women come in and have a book meeting here, and so we do things like that.
Hopefully next time you're in downtown Wichita, you'll stop by this cute little bookstore. For BCTV 20, I'm Marbella Gonzalez.
What's wrong, Marbella?
I'm trying to write a strongly worded text to our producer about this horrible writing, but my stupid Android phone keeps acting up. I wish I had an iPhone.
Really? I was just thinking the same thing about my iPhone. It has so many problems. I just really want an Android phone.
Well, how do you decide which is better?
Ultimately, it's preference, but I'm gonna let Connor Zimmerman's piece on iPhone versus Android help you make your decision. Rub the video.
This is Campus Edge reporter Connor Zimmerman, and today we'll be taking a look at the pros and cons of the iPhone 7 and the Galaxy S7. First up, we have the iPhone 7. Pros. This new iPhone is water resistant. The standby time is much improved to save battery. 3D Touch gets you an interactive look inside an app. The camera can shoot 4K video at 30 frames per second. The speakers on the iPhone 7 have gone to stereo instead of mono audio. Gorilla Glass 5 has been improved to be shatter resistant. Alright, let's go to cons now. The first major con for me is that the removal of the headphone jack. Another con is The iPhone 7 only has 2 gigs of RAM, so it won't perform as great. Display flex on the iPhone 7, you can see the camera bend. Another con is the camera bump on the very back. You can see it on the table. And the final con is less customizability as an Android. And now the Galaxy S7. Pros. It is now water resistant. It does have the headphone jack, unlike the iPhone 7. It has 4 gigs of RAM, double of the iPhone 7. It can also shoot 4K video at 30 frames per second, just like the iPhone. Expandable storage, so you could use it in a micro SD card. Also has Gorilla Glass 5, such as the iPhone. And it has more customizability. Alright, now let's go to the cons. Cons for the Galaxy S7 come slim. The standby time for the Galaxy S7 has dropped severely to the iPhone. USB Type-C charger goes away from the micro USB like everybody else has. Also, the back of the Galaxy S7 is a fingerprint magnet. Today, we took a look at the iPhone 7 and the Galaxy S7. Maybe this will help you choose what phone you'll get next. For Campus Edge, this is Connor Zimmerman signing out.
All right, I think we have all the kinks worked out with the teleprompter.
So no more making us look dumb?
Nope, should be smooth sailing from now on.
Good, because I'm tired of being made a fool of. Our next and final package is over the Safe Streets Coalition in Wichita, made by Andrew Lillard. Let's go ahead and roll the Parmesan.
In the past 12 years, Kansas's overall drug overdose death rate has more than quadrupled. With only Wyoming outpacing Kansas in youth drug overdoses, Wichita was also one of the fastest growing cities for youth drug busts. One organization hoping to make a dent in this growing problem is the Safe Streets Coalition. Founded in Topeka in 1995, I sat down with Brendan Boyd, the community mobilizer for Safe Streets, to see what can be done.
One of the immediate goals of the Safe Streets Coalition in Wichita is to just partnership formation, building relationships. The long-term goal, obviously, is just the advocacy and prevention, stopping or reducing first use in children that leads to addiction, that leads to them being addicted adults. My personal goal is to impact children at a very young age, and just to be a help. Certainly, I'd like to develop a program, prevention science program that is tailored towards kindergarten kids or kids 3 to 5 to 6 year old range, because prevention is starting earlier now. And the more they can get reinforced that message at an earlier age, then maybe that'll, put some kind of blockade in their brain as, when they're older and they're being pressured, to do something that's really not healthy for them. Target demographic, which would be children anywhere 5th grade to seniors in high school, because those are the population that's most affected by first use or illegal use. And then they turn into, more or less addicted adults.
Safe Streets Wichita is a new organization and is working on multiple drug addiction prevention programs throughout the city. They are also open to volunteers.
Partnersforwichita.org is a good place to start. Also, you can reach that emails, Brandon at partnersforwichita.org or Danielle at partnersforwichita.org. We also don't mind people just stopping in and saying hello and seeing what we're about. We're based out of St. Paul's, 925 North Waco, here in Wichita. At the edge of downtown, or heart of downtown, whatever you want to call it.
Drug addiction stops at prevention. Putting an end to it before it starts is the best way. For BCTV Channel 20, I'm Andrew Lillard.
Let's wrap up this show so I can go yell at the producer already.
Count me in! If you want to watch this episode again, check out the reruns of this show weekdays at 11 a.m. or last week's show at 6:30 p.m. on VCTV Channel 20.
Or you can check them all out on our YouTube channel. YouTube Butler Student Media.
This has been
The Campus Edge.